Okay, hi first graders. Today we are going to be looking at lesson 2-8 and they're going to ask us to continue to think addition to subtract. So we've been talking a lot about fact families and we're going to be continuing today to look at how addition and subtraction related facts can help us when we're looking to solve. So we're going to find that on page 121. So if you need a minute, you can go ahead and pause the video now and get your materials. I am going to go ahead and share my workspace with you now. And you can see here, we are in lesson 2-8, page 121. See that there at the bottom. You also see Jackson on that page, and he has two, looks like coconut trees here. And if you look closely in the center, you will notice that this is actually a kind of parts to whole chart, right? Do you see that between the trees? Yeah. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to read what Jackson is saying in this bubble. How can you use addition? Let me start again. How can you use an addition fact to find the answer to 8 take away 5 equals blank? Use counters to help you solve the problem. Okay, so I know that I need to solve for 8 take away 5 equals something. And they're encouraging me to use my counters. So I have mine right here. I keep my toolkit right next to me. You are welcome to get your counters out, but you don't have to because we're going to look at this together right now. So I know that I'm subtracting. I also know that when I subtract, I have to start with my biggest number. Okay, now as I look at this parts to whole chart, I know that my whole, what I have here in the whole, is always the biggest number, right? So that means that 8 has to be the whole for this parts to whole chart. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in here. You can do that in on your book too. Okay, I also know that what I'm taking away is going to be one of my parts. So I'm going to put in here 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because I'm taking away 5. All right, that just leaves part 2 left. So one way I can solve for this is by putting 5 in my head and counting on until I get to 8 because I know 8 is my whole. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I have 5, and you can count on with me. 6, 7, 8. All right, I'm going to stop there because I got to 8. So how many more did I need to add into part 2? I needed to add in 3 more. Good. Okay, so there's 2 different ways that I can think about this parts to whole chart. One is addition. So I know that 5 plus 3 gives me 8. So I'm going to write that in here. 5 plus 3 equals 8. Whoops, 8. All right. If I know 5 plus 3 equals 8, I also know the related fact, which is 8, right? I have to start with my biggest number when I subtract. Take away my part 1, which is 5, equals, what does it equal? That's right, it equals 3. Okay. Another subtraction problem that is related is 8, right? Let me see, I'm going to write it right here. They don't give me a lot of space. I'll write it here. 8. Take away, I could go around the other way and take away 3, right? And that would give me a difference of 5. 8 take away 3 equals 5, all right? I could also flip-flop these numbers, and instead of 5 plus 3, I could also say 3 plus 5 equals 8. 3 plus 5 equals 8, okay? So remember, fact families, most of the time, they will have 4 equations. The only time that's not true is when it's a double, okay? All right, we'll talk more about that next time. So I'm going to go ahead and take these 5 away, but I'm going to draw those in right now. You can do that in your book also. And then for part 2, I have 3. I'm going to go ahead and draw those in. So now my parts to whole chart reflects what I have here for my equations. Okay? All right. If you need more time with this page, you can go ahead and pause the video now. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and turn the page. And we see Jackson on the top of that page, and he has some more things to share with us here. So if I look here at the top, it says, think addition to help you subtract. So my subtraction problem is 9 take away 5 equals something. And here he puts it in a parts to whole diagram. So I know the whole is 9 because 9, that whole is always going to be my biggest number. And when I subtract, I'm always going to start with the biggest number. So that will be 9 in this case. And part 1 is going to be what I'm subtracting, which is 5. So what I need to do is figure out what part 2 is. All right. Well, Jackson asks, what can I add to 5 to make 9? All right. So he's going to use the same strategy we did. He's going to put part 1 in his head and he's going to count on until he gets to the whole, and then he's going to stop. Okay. So we can do that together. Let's listen to what it sounds like. We're going to say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many more did I need to add? That's right, I needed to add 4 more. So you can see in the parts to whole chart on in the next square, he went ahead and found that same answer. He found 4. And so now we can plug it into this addition problem. 5 plus 4 equals 9. 5 plus 4 equals 9. So 4 is the missing part. All right. And then finally, we can think of the addition fact to solve the subtraction fact. So remember, my original equation was 9 take away 5 equals something. Well, now that we know 5 plus 4 equals 9, we can use that to help us with 9 take away 5, which equals 4. See that? It's a related fact. All the numbers match up. Okay? All right, let's go ahead then to the guided practice down here. And the directions ask us to think addition to help you subtract. Write the missing part. All right, here we go. So number 1, my parts to whole is 9 for my whole, and my part 1 is 7. So I have to figure out how many more I need to add to complete part 2. I'm going to put 7 in my head, and I'm going to count on until I get to 9, and then I'm going to stop. Sounds like this: 7, 8, 9. Okay, I can see I needed 2 more, so I'm going to put 2 in part 2. So now I have all the information I need. All my boxes are filled in order to complete my equations. All right, so I know 7 plus 2 equals 9. Okay. And if I know 7 plus 2 equals 9, then I know 9 take away 7 is going to equal 2. Okay. All right, number 2, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So I can see here the whole is 10 and part 1 is 6. 10 take away 6 equals something. That's what we're going to solve for. So we're going to start by using a related addition fact. So we know 6 plus something else is going to give us 10. We'll put 6 in our head and we'll count on until we get to 10. It sounds like this: 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I had to add 4 more. So I'm going to fill in 4 for part 2. Now I have all of my pieces filled in, so I have what I need to get to my equations. 6 plus 4 is going to equal 10. And if I know that, then I also know that 10 take away 6 is going to equal 4, right? Okay. What if I just wanted to use another strategy just to double check my answer? I have 10, there's 10 fingers, take away 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm left with 4, right? Still works, even with a different strategy. Okay, we're going to go ahead then and move ahead to the independent practice. And today's independent practice asks us to think addition to help you subtract, write the missing part. All right, so the same thing that we did here in our guided practice, we're going to be doing for numbers 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we have to figure out what goes in part 2 in order to help us solve the equations. All right, and the way we do that is putting the first part in our head and counting on, and then we stop when we get to the whole. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a chance to work on those 3 independently today. And then for number 6, this is a math and science question, so let's go ahead and read this together. It says, turtles have shells to protect them from dangers in the ocean. 10 turtles are on the beach. Then some turtles swim away. We don't know how many. Now there are 7 turtles on the beach. How many turtles swam away? Write an addition and a subtraction equation to match the story. Okay, so we have a lot of information here, and we want to go ahead and kind of hone in on what important pieces we need. Okay, so the first part is the science part. It tells us that turtles have shells to protect them from dangers in the ocean. Okay, the next part tells us what we need for the math piece. So 10 turtles are on the beach, so we know there's 10 altogether. Then some swim away. We don't know how many. Now there are 7 turtles on the beach. Okay, so there's 7 left. How many turtles swam away? All right. To begin with, I'm going to use this space here to make a parts to whole chart. So you can do that with me, please, right now. Go ahead and draw in that space. There's a perfect amount of space there for our parts to whole. All right, so we know that at the beginning of the story, altogether, there were 10 turtles, which means our whole is going to be 10. That's how many we had altogether, right? Then some swim away. We don't know how many swam away, but we know that after that, there were only 7 turtles there. So I'm going to go ahead and put, fill in my parts. So I don't know how many swam away, but I do know that 7 were left at the end. Okay, all right, well, this tells me that I have a missing part, and in order to solve for that, I put one part in my head, right, and I count on until I get to 10. It's the same process that we do over here, right? So let's go ahead and put 7 in our head, 7, and then we're going to count on 8, 9, 10. There we go. All right, so we know that 3 of them swam away. And that makes sense because 3 plus 7 equals 10, right? Okay, so we're going to use this as for our addition equation to begin with. 3 plus 7 equals 10. I have a question. Would I be able to have written 7 plus 3 equals 10? Would that also be okay? It sure would, right? 3 plus 7 equals 10, and 7 plus 3 also equals 10. Those numbers can be flip-flopped, right? All right, and then finally is my subtraction problem. I know when I subtract, I have to start with my biggest number, right? And my biggest number is the whole, which is 10. So 10 take away, I know I was left with 7, and I wanted to know how many swam away. It was 3. Okay, so altogether, 3 turtles swam away. All right. Okay, boys and girls, That was some good work. You're going to go ahead and keep working on numbers 3, 4, and 5. And if you have any questions, go ahead and bring it to our Google Meet and we can talk about it. Okay, guys, have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.